I say 7, y'all say days. Hunting for the cheese like a mouse in a maze. Been down all my life, mama thought it was a phase. Same OG, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Last night I had a dream.
Welcome to Neutral Voices. This is the place where your voice matters, and this is our Wednesday live segment.
We live.
And should I test y'all?
Test it. I think you got
What's
it.
live?
Live is where we laugh, aspire, inspire, vibe, and educate.
You got to take everyone, Clarence.
I didn't know you
Look,
wanted to.
so one of these days, I'm have y'all do it individually. So
All
everybody
right.
get
My
it.
bad. I had to get ease in since he's not here.
And he has it. And he's looking good, by the way. So I just want to compliment this beautiful shirt.
All right, thank you,
Just
Dr. V.
silky smooth. Beautiful.
All right, thank you.
Look, in pink. Men wear pink, too.
Yes.
And look real nice in pink. Anyway, so tonight is our Wednesday live segment, and we are going to be talking about something that involves everybody, including you.
Right.
So first of all, let me say click like and share. So please do this because this is an episode that I would say involves the entire community, whether you're a business owner, pastor, parent, teacher, whoever.
If you're in the community, it involves you.
Yeah, we're talking about the village, and we're going to visit the village
Right.
yesterday, today, and tomorrow. That should be pretty interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have a video, though. We want to jump right into it. So watch with us.
It takes a village to raise a child. This is an African proverb, which means that an entire community of people must interact with the children of the community in order for those children to grow up in a safe and healthy environment. I pose the question, who is the village? The village is comprised of individuals like you and me who want to see the community prosper and the children develop into outstanding adults. Individuals like Marsha Smiley, who is a dedicated volunteer in the Allen County and Greater Fort Wayne area. She has been recognized for her tireless service in the community, serving underprivileged at-risk youth. People such as Chris and Ephraim Smiley Jr., whose urban farm feeds countless people in the community. In 2018, Mr. Smiley was presented with the Sagamore of the Wabash Award for his distinguished service to the state of Indiana and its residents. This is just one family in the greater Fort Wayne area. Imagine if that was replicated across the nation. If each individual in the community works cohesively with each other as a whole, we can provide opportunities and a standard of living that is unmatched in human history. Is it possible? Yes. It would take a huge amount of selflessness. I listened to stories from the older generation where they express how each neighbor would look out for the children of the community. And I asked, how did that change? According to an article written by psychologist Dan Edmonds, one of the most destructive problems in a community is the breakdown of the people, the superficial nature of relationships, and the societal and financial pressures that force one to focus on self-survival. In order for us to create that village that we so desperately want and so desperately need, it's going to take each individual in that community to care about the plight of the other people in that community. Relationships are more valuable than gold.
Beautiful.
Yes, that was beautiful.
Beautiful
That pretty
video.
much breaks it down.
And
That says it all.
There's so much to that video, but I love that you that the video talked about the Smileys.
Yes, those are
Marsha
good people.
is
They're
amazing,
great people.
and she's so thoughtful of other people, and so I just love that it featured that particular family, and and there's more, of course. And we know what they're doing, and we're going to talk more about them later in some other episodes. But one of the things that stood out to me from that video, besides the Smileys, when it said who's in the village.
Right.
Who are these people? And so we can, just kind of think about that right now since that question, was there. Who else do we see? Anybody that if you want to mention names or just positions in
Well-
the community.
Well, as the video said, Mr. Smiley and his son have a community garden.
Mhm.
I understand that Ty Simmons is working with them, and he's starting his own entity as well. I
And
mean,
Condra Ridley too.
Condra
that
Ridley,
been
yes.
doing-
Joe Jordan at the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
Helping raise and cultivate future generations. So, I mean, it's a lot of people that are still working in the village,
Right.
but we need the village to work together.
The village.
Yes.
We need the village to work the
The
village.
village to work the village. There we
Okay.
go.
You know what? And so, and you were specific with names, and that's beautiful. But, I'm just thinking about as far as when I say, like titles and positions. So who do we feel we need? Who are the vital components as far as people? We understand. Well, of course, I would feel like barbers and hairstylists because we're the place where the village comes to talk and tell the truth and a little lying.
Yeah, it looked
Uh,
good. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those people for sure, but I'm talking about if we were creating a village, what people do we want to make sure that are present in our village?
Well,
you
first
know?
and foremost, we need educators. We need educators. We need the storytellers as they used to be in the
Yes.
village.
Yes.
It wasn't a formal education, but the keepers of the history, the people that's going to pass it on and keep it live. So we need the educators and the storytellers.
The storytellers, and we do need, and I would say anybody that has a heart that wants to contribute
Right.
from child to child.
And
Because
you
a
made-
lot of times that's what's missing.
You made a good point because you said, I think with any village, a village needs a leader. But when you have a leader, you also need to have the village. I mean, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Ty Simmons, the greenhouse, all of the stuff that they're doing is wonderful as far as stepping up and being leaders.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's really the start of it is to have some leadership.
Right.
The
Yeah,
village
and-
will follow.
Yeah, because as I was thinking about it, and we do have another little snippet video we're going to get into real quick. But one of the things that came to mind is when you think about a community of people, a village, think full circle. We have all of these different business owners,
Right.
and we have some English teachers and math teachers,
Right,
etc.
right.
So, can you imagine during COVID what it would have looked like if those people had contributed some extra
right.
time
You're right.
on a Saturday or whatever day,
got
say
together.
if you got,
Got
kids,
together,
that,
yeah.
bring them over or let me do a Zoom
Right,
and
right,
help teach
right.
some
Right.
of those
And I
kids.
think that's a big part of where the leadership comes in for
Mhm.
somebody to say, let's do this. Let's come together.
Absolutely. And this is a start
This is the start.
Yes,
right
it
here.
is.
So
We're gonna tell 'em,
okay,
wake 'em
So
up.
we have another video. So watch with us.
Is to have some type of support. Because you know how back in the day when you used to say it takes a village to raise a child. And I feel like we came out of that. Like now people don't even want to, if we see a child, like the other day I seen this little girl on the train, the subway, and she was cursing like, hey, and I'm thinking in my head like, back in the day, you couldn't do that in front of an adult because you'll be afraid that they'll go and tell your parents. Now kids don't care because we need to get back to that. We need to be able to help one another raise each other's children.
We on camera?
Kids don't care because
Are we on camera?
need to get back to that. We need to be able to.
Do you have a village?
It takes a village.
Okay, boom. And that's it right there. I want to back up to when she was talking about
Yeah.
because I have been in that position and I know me personally, I've been in places and you hear the young lady especially, and she's losing it and her mouth is just foul and you're looking at her face thinking, you are just too adorable.
Right.
And then you want to intervene, and I have, so I have to be honest.
I believe that.
They probably call me every in the book, but I did. Back in the day, as she said, young people would have looked and noticed this old person, and they would have changed their tone,
Right, right.
and their
Absolutely.
behavior, etc. Even pulled their pants up, top down, clothes. You know, they would have reverenced.
Well, and you
that
used to
adult.
know, I used to know everybody in the neighborhood. You could go 47 doors down, and if you were running your mouth, they called your mom, and by the time you got home, you were in trouble for it because you listened to them, you respected them because you knew them. Your family knew them, their family knew them. That to me is your village.
That's right. And Jill, before you say that, Clarence, when you said by the time you make it home, because neighbors had each other's phone numbers.
All the time, right.
So, they didn't even have cell phones, but somebody beat you.
Yeah, 47 houses down, I'm running my mouth, getting in trouble.
Yes.
But as that young lady was saying, I think I'm guilty of that. I still to throw back to the village because I was one of those that, you could be corrected by adults. Man, they have to get me sometimes. I be in stores and I hear kids talking to their mom or be in the office. I be like, where my belt? But the people got to remind me, you can't whoop other people's kids anymore.
No. They can't even do that to their own.
Yeah, you can't even
kids.
whoop your own kids.
Man, that's a problem, man. I'm serious, man.
Oh, yeah. No, you have to you almost have to mind your business. And no matter what you see and how they're acting, because you don't know which parent you're going to come up against.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
so
the problem.
different now. Yeah,
So-
like Bertha, 47 houses down, would have said you're going to get your whipped by the time you get home, and she knew it because
That's
she
right.
was right.
And the
Y'all
parents
lived in different neighborhoods.
And your
Bertha would have whooped me, didn't send me
Bertha would
home.
have got you,
to
and
get
then
home.
got
That's what I
Right.
was going to say. That parent was going to co-sign that.
Right.
And so you might, as they say, second that motion, okay, and do the same thing. And so another point I liked about this particular video, when she talks about the support, obviously, is one of the things that we need. The reason why we need the village in the first place, the support of each other, but that parenting that would have come from the entire community.
Right. And we're going to get into that a little bit more, but something she said is it takes a village to raise a child. It's not like that anymore. Right now, a lot of places, it's a mother raising a child, but the mother is at work because the father is in jail or the father is someplace else. So it goes so much deeper than that, and we're going to touch on it.
Yeah.
But the village, I don't think raises the child anymore.
Right. And, Jill, just because you said mother, I want to say this real quick before it seems like we may have a comment, but one of and we already mentioned that this comes from the African proverb. And, when you try to actually research it to find the original proverb, there's kind of, I'll say 3-4 different ones, but this one kind of stood out to me. And just because you mentioned mother, it says, whomsoever is not taught by the mother will be taught by or with the world. And so I started thinking about that.
That's exactly
and
true.
I'm
Look at
thinking,
our world today.
think about some of the homes, and mom, unfortunately, because the percentage is going up every day as far as moms being incarcerated. And so imagine a home where mom is not there.
Right.
Or because there has been, I don't know if y'all remember, we had a lot of females being killed.
Yes.
The last few years, I'll say.
Right.
And those children are left without a mother.
Right.
So as I read that particular one, I was thinking, wow, that's devastating. And who's going to raise this child?
Right.
And so if people don't step up to say, I got you.
If the right people don't step up, the wrong people are
The
going
wrong
to step
people
in.
will.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
And that's exactly how I took that.
We've got a comment from Mandy. Hi, Mandy. So Mandy says,
Mandy.
educator here, which she is.
Yay.
I completely agree that respect for others and reverence has been lost.
Mhm.
Yes.
Absolutely. You'd be
And
scared
that
to
goes-
blow at the kids when they're walking in the street.
Well, that goes back to, as you two were talking about who's teaching the children.
Mhm.
A lot of times, even if the mother's in a home and she has to work, a lot of times the world teaches because the TV, you welcome the TV into your home, and that's your kid's biggest teacher. Right now, you got YouTube, you got your cell phone, you got Facebook, and instead of engaging with your child here.
You said, I'm
you know,
sorry,
I mean,
Claire.
you 2 or 3 year olds.
You definitely on the right track, but when you say it's the teacher, it's the parent.
Yes, yes.
The TV. is
And that's
the
so
parent.
true because adults are so sucked in by the media and the news outlets. So imagine being a 12 or 13-year-old child absorbing this when grown people literally let the outlets make decisions for them clearly.
Yeah. So
We've
because
got another comment
Okay.
here. It says, we do too much in front of our children. then we
Ooh.
want to blame them when they smoke, drink, and have
Honey.
different sexual partners.
Yes, who said that?
Digital Mind
awesome,
Studios.
awesome. Because that's one of the things that I'm going to be talking about a little bit later. We're going to definitely get into that topic.
Yeah.
So you know how we do it. We have so much to cover. Right now, this is Neutral Voices, and this is our Wednesday live,
Right.
and we are discussing the village. And we're remembering the village at this
Yes,
time,
yes.
the way it used to be.
Yeah.
And so, anything else y'all want to add to that? Because I know there's so much more
Yeah.
about remembering, but we're gonna move
We're
on.
gonna move on because we got
Okay.
a lot to cover.
I know.
You know,
Okay.
we got a lot. and we
Okay,
wanna
so
hit
so
everything.
let's keep it moving, and we got another video, and if we're ready for it, let's do it. Watch with us.
Oh, okay, he's getting the video ready.
So meanwhile, they're
When it rains, it can really pour. You know that time when you feel like you're stuck in an overwhelming, suffocating storm? Everything's coming at you at one time. It could be professional. It could be physical. It could be emotional. Have you ever used your village to help you weather a storm? It could be physical. It could be emotional. Have you ever used your village to help you weather a storm?
Oh, that's
love it.
Oh,
Have you ever used your village? And I like that. What I like the fact that we get to own a village.
right.
So
right,
when he says, "Have you ever used your village?" and right now I call it my circle.
right.
And yes, I have had to use my circle of friends or family for sure.
Right.
Have you ever had to use your village?
Yeah. Actually, I'm doing it now, you know, sporadically because it's still fresh that my father passed in August. So, you know, it's the first of a lot of things. So, you know, I do reach out to people when things go on and, you know, just talk to people in different ways.
Yeah.
And that does help. But a problem that I'm seeing, the reason we don't do that anymore is because there's no secrets. There's no honor among secrets. I don't talk to you two because y'all gonna talk to each other, and I don't know who else y'all talk to. And that's a sad commentary on how we do things. We can't.
Can I
trust
clear
people.
that up? That's hypothetical.
Hypothetically,
Okay.
yeah.
Because we talk about you in front of you. We would
Right, I
never
was
do
just
it
gonna
behind
say,
you.
Some people take everything so literal when
Right,
we're
right.
talking on the
Yeah,
panel.
but,
so
but
we
you
have
understand
to be.
what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yes, I
and-
do. We do.
And that was hypothetical. But I'm saying, out in the world, people subliminally, you tell somebody now, they subliminally put your business on Facebook.
Oh my
You
God.
know,
And it doesn't matter how sacred it is. And-
Right.
And you know what? You know how they used to say, you know, be careful the things you say because you can't take it back.
Right.
You know, at one point it was words don't hurt, except yes, they do.
Yeah.
Especially on the internet, because
Yeah.
those don't go away.
Yes,
And they
absolutely.
just, you know,
Something that I caught is when he says, you know, when you're going through a storm, do you turn to your village? So I think the problem is so many people have gotten used to weathering their own storm.
Mm-hmm.
They have gotten used to, you know, dealing with everything on their own.
Wonder why. What do you
And I
think?
don't know, because I think that there's always a small village present for most people. But I think we've all become so self-sufficient, so, you know, self-preserved that we try to weather everything on our own.
You
We
know,
forget the
Jill, look,
village.
you had me leaning in.
You're
honey.
leaning.
Listen, because I'm like, I wonder what happened. What caused that? Because you're right. I mean, I'm guilty. Like, I wonder if I'm doing it because I don't want to burden somebody else
That's
with
exact-
my
And I think that's
issues?
what it is for most.
Or is it my pride that don't want other people to know I'm even dealing with this
Right,
issue?
right,
Or, you know,
right.
this breakdown right now in my life. And
Right.
we got to keep it going. We have comments. Thank you.
So,
Hi.
Jashonda. Hi, Jashonda.
What up, Joe?
I love.
She says neighborhoods are different, communities are fractured. The sense of respect and responsibility for and to each other has been displaced with the less of elders and intact families. As a single mother with 3 young men, I've been very fortunate to have an involved family and an extended family of positive male and female mentors that are helping me raise my guys. And that is a village.
yeah, that's
That
a
is
village.
That's a beautiful
honey.
village.
That's beautiful.
Now,
And that's awesome. And you have some wonderful children.
Yes,
So,
she does. Yes, she
yes.
does. And she part of my village because her son keep trying to get me to tell stories, but I said I got stuff your mama need to take to the grave. So
True story.
Yes,
What's up, Jill
but that
Shonda?
goes back to kind of what you were saying about you have to be careful who's in your
Right,
village.
right. Because you can't trust everybody, you know. And
Yes,
it's sad,
but
you know.
yes, but we understand.
Yes.
So anyway, so I think we're moving right into. Let's get right into. Do we have another video that we need to watch? Any more comments
All right.
from that last video? Okay, so I think we understand yesterday
Right.
and what it was about.
What it was about.
And so today we've been touching on that, what we can't do, what we're afraid to do. So,
Well,
I think we can go a little deeper with
and
today.
I'm
and
going
what's
to give
going
an
on.
example of today in the village of yesterday can work in today's society.
Okay.
I think our focus is on the whole wrong things. We focus on all the wrong things because we all see them and we all think that they're different or we talk about them or this, that, or the other. But the Amish community, listen to this. The Amish community have 5 principles that they live by. They live simple. They don't use a lot of technology. They save more than they spend. They spend time with God. And they keep everything local and within their community. Think about it.
Okay.
Now, this is in 2021. They still do this. The Amish communities has been around since actually the beginning of the United States. The Puritans and all those, they just now are the Amish.
Okay.
They live within their community. They're self-sustained. Everything they build, they grow, they shop, everything. They look out for the children. They worship together. Everything is self-contained. And they're not bothered by the world. They don't let the TV come in and tell them, you need to buy this, you need to buy that.
Right.
They don't use
That's
the
that influence.
Right. They don't use the internet or anything, to TikTok and babysit their children. They actually are involved.
You said, wait. I gotta just insert this. You said TikTok babysitting the children. TikTok babysitting the adults.
Seriously.
That's true too.
But, okay.
And think about it. They save more than they spend. We get $1 and we don't keep it in our community. We're going to buy Jordans. We're going to buy rims.
Quick.
We are getting the money out before it. And we're not keeping it in our community, which is destroying our village because our money is not there anymore.
And it's almost like we don't like money. For real. I'm saying because it's like if we get it, we feel like we got to get it away
gotta get
from
rid
us.
of it.
Like,
Yes.
get this off of me.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's a whole nother problem.
Right, and when you say, the Amish, I'm familiar with the Amish, and they are so self-sufficient. But most importantly, is their village is completely blanketed in faith. I mean, their faith to them is everything. It's so much more than TikTok or anything else to them. We have another comment.
Oh, this is the Smiley.
Yeah,
Hey, Mr. Smiley, how you doing?
Hello, Ephraim.
Free community breakfast on Saturday from 10 to 11 at the Fellowship Church parking lot, 2536 East Tillman Road. Pull in, sign in, receive your bag, and pull off.
Wow.
Yeah. Now that's
See?
taking care of your village right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they staying out
See,
there.
that is so awesome. Thank
Absolutely.
you. And thank you for sharing that
Thank you for sharing
comment
it.
with everybody. So so get ready. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of people out there for that. Now, Jill, you were saying some good stuff. And, before we move too deep into what's going on today and truck over to tomorrow, I wanted to say this about just the whole thing about raising the children, the village raising the children. It says, when I was looking this up, it says the entire community of people must interact with the children so they can grow in a safe and healthy environment. Now, think about some communities today. Think about those words, safe and healthy.
It's
and
neither
first
one
we
of them.
want to think about the crime. Now just think about healthy. And then I want to say this, a safe and healthy environment. So look what, I just want to give the definition to healthy. Not that people don't understand it, but listen to this. The state of physical, mental, and social well-being in which disease and infirmity are absent. Watch this. I'm about to break this on down.
Break it down.
Watch this. Disease. And a lot of people don't really break that word down.
Right.
Dis-ease. Now think about our community and think about our community having a disease. Now it's disease in this sense. Listen, a particular quality, habit, or disposition regarded as adversely affecting a person or a group of
Go ahead,
people.
Dr. V.
Oh,
Look at
wait. Okay, so let me say this again. As they say, listen. This just got me because when I started thinking about it, I'm like, okay, so I understand that. So I understand the disease. And then now we're talking about or infirmity and infirmity. What is infirmity? Because we think we know. We hear the word. Watch this. Physical or mental weakness. Is our community weakened physically
Yes.
and mentally?
Yes.
We have to acknowledge that first so that we know how we need to attack or how we need to begin to rebuild if it's possible.
We're gonna put
Okay,
a pin in
so
it.
we have another comment because this is an awesome subject and there's so much to this.
So Digital Mind Studio says, I love you guys and gals. And the samurai hairstyle lady, thanks for keeping us informed. I got jokes.
He got jokes.
I love it. It's
I love it.
so cute.
That's cute. That's cute.
He's
I
talking
think-
about your hair, Clarence.
Oh, yeah. But Dr. V, I got a lot of what you said.
Yes.
And here's the problem. Are our villages safe and healthy?
That's why.
First of all, let's talk about safety. Here's a problem. First of all, we don't look out for each other anymore. It's a lyric in a rap song that says we live in hoods because we don't have neighbors anymore. You know, at a time, I would watch out for people breaking into your house. Now, my kids breaking into your house when you come, I ain't see nothing. I don't know what's going on.
That's right.
And then let's look at the adults that's preying on their children. There was a time where we protected children. Now, we don't do that. We got men that's 25, 30 looking at 13 and 14-year-old girls.
Ooh, and working in the school
we
system.
got women doing the same thing. But
Working in the school system.
That's because the 13 and 14-year-old girls now look like they're 24.
it does not
you
matter.
know,
What you
and
look
you're
like does not
right.
matter.
And
What
right.
you look like does not
Yes,
matter.
it does.
No,
But you know what?
Parent
no,
influence.
no,
Absolutely.
no,
Yes,
no,
it does.
no.
Yes,
You
it
can't tell me
does.
that one.
But listen, no. There's just two sides to that. Okay, here's the deal. She can't help. She's genetically built a certain way.
Yeah,
Right.
Right?
kids
Okay,
look
that's
different.
one thing. But the parents however, letting the young lady come out of the house.
Amen.
One with leggings have become the new dress or pant, whatever. So leggings and I seen a girl in school with hot shorts, hot pants on. I don't know how that happened, but the dress code in the school systems. So the adults that setting the rules in place but don't enforce the rules. I'm just saying, so everybody dropped the ball, and now you got men drooling and women drooling. I can't just blame it on men,
Right.
but at somebody's 14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
It's
And
sickening.
there are reasons, though. I mean, if we want to go any deeper than this, there are reasons that we do not have villages anymore. And that doesn't always boil down to that people don't want to be in them.
Yes.
Because there comes a point where, in my opinion, our villages are broken up purposely
Yes.
from the higher up.
That's right.
We are men. You have your rich, you have your poor, you have your black, you have your whites.
Yes.
Right.
They
right.
are set up to be like that. So can a village ever be a village if every time a village has a leader, I mean, going back to the civil rights movement, everybody that was killed when it was time to be a leader,
Yeah.
nobody has stepped up after that.
Or if a village actually gets to a point where it's an amazing village and it's resourceful and it's booming, will they come and tear it down?
They
again?
will come and tear it down because everything is done intentionally, in my opinion. Like, we
Yes.
still have some personal responsibility and accountability.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, these villages, I feel, are being purposely broken.
Yes.
Making them almost
That-
impossible to put back together. Then
That's
it
right.
falls down on the households, the foundations,
And so when you say impossible to put it back together,
because
as
it
long
keeps
as that
being
father,
ripped apart.
that's right. As long as you cannot and don't allow a family to unify.
Right.
Yeah. So
right.
it keeps that
And-
weakness there.
And excuse me, Miss Jill touched on a lot of things, and we need to get some meat in here. Time is running.
I
by,
know
but
because
we
it's
need to
so
get some meat.
much.
Yeah.
And
but-
we are running out of time. This is Neutral Voices. And if you're just joining us, thank you. This is our Wednesday live segment, and we're talking about the village?
I'm going to say this in all truthfulness. I know some people are not going to receive this the way that it is, but the truth is the truth. Unfortunately, desegregation was a good idea, but it's a failed experiment. Here's
okay.
why I say that. Before and during segregation, we as a black community was forced to depend on each other, watch out for each other, work together, and everything. That was what we did. And you talked about the community. Greenwood. Everybody know about the Greenwood community in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Black Wall Street, thriving. Had everything. Had schools, libraries, hospitals, doctors. Every business you could imagine was in this community. And they supported the business in this community. But as you say, it was destroyed purposefully. It was taken away from them. Now, the thing with segregation is that before desegregation, the white man had a 0% unemployment. Black man had 0.4%. Since segregation, it's been out the water. Right now, it's about 14% of the population, which are black men, are 44.5% of those are unemployed. Out of the 14% of the population, 44% of that 14%
That's ridiculous.
is unemployed. So you were saying, think about it. Before desegregation, we owned our own businesses. We worked in our community. When they said we can go get these jobs where they made us think that the pay was great, we flocked to those jobs. Everybody, Detroit, the auto industry and all that, we flocked to those jobs, leaving our entrepreneurship, and then those jobs didn't last.
And I feel like every time somebody steps up and wants to lead the village, they are shot down. Literally shot down.
Yeah.
When you said they want to leave the village.
No, when they went to
build it.
lead, when they
Oh,
want to
lead.
be a
Okay.
leader, they are
Yes.
shot down.
Yes.
So we could build a perfect village. I mean, I feel like we need a village part 2 to this because there's so much. We could build a perfect village, but at the end of the day, there are just so many systems that are put into place that makes that so absolutely hard to do.
Right,
Yes.
right. Again, with the civil rights movement, and everybody think it was just black and white. Affirmative action came through the civil rights movement. The women's suffrage and women's rights and all that came through the civil rights movement. So that opened it up that mothers now can work. They taking the black fathers out of the household. Now the mothers are the ones that's working. Think about it. Now, that's conditioned a lot of women today, let's be honest, that I don't need a man.
Yeah.
We don't.
And you know what, Clarence, when you were talking about the unemployment rate, the white versus the black, and I know sometimes it seemed like these are only two races in the world, cultures. But with that being said, you made me think about, I heard one time somebody say, when white people catch a cold, black people catch the flu. So it's always worse
Yeah,
for us
it's
for
always
some
harder for
reason,
us.
which means we can't use any excuses, but we have to make up our mind to be accountable.
Right, I
And
agree.
that's where, when we start talking about rebuilding the village, accountability is number one.
That's
we have
true.
to put that in
That's
place.
true.
We have to accept our responsibility and say, you know what, it's time for a change.
Right.
And I'm ready to be accountable for what's going on, not just in my home, but on my block.
But the problem is, like we got the Smileys, and we got other people we can name, but we're so segmented.
Yeah.
We need to also be accountable and active. You can't be just passive with it. You got to get out there.
You just can't be a member.
Yeah, no, you got to get out there. You got to put boots to the
wait,
pavement. You got to put in work.
You can't
gotta
be a
get it.
bench member.
You can't be a bench member. You got to put in work. But too many of us are waiting for the next one to step up.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
listen, I know our time is, the clock is ticking. We're running out of time. We got another comment. Is that a comment?
No, I think that's
Okay.
nice.
All right. Okay. So listen, if we can just put this in a quick little nutshell, we got 1 to 2 minutes maximum.
Okay.
How can we, should we rebuild our village?
Yes, we should. And I think the village is still here. It's just transitioning. The village that we know we'll never see again. Technology, a whole lot of
Wiped
those
it
other
out.
things. And think about it. The COVID. COVID has, changed our village because now we're beginning to be more and more distant where we're not socially interactive. So the village that we have right now.
So we realize we don't even need each other.
We don't need each
Oh,
other.
That's
not
how
good.
it feels.
That's
So
not
many
how it
things have
feels.
been replaced.
Yeah.
So it's still here. We just got to adjust it, retool it. But we got to get back to the human factor in the village. We got to stop leaving the human factor out of it.
Well, I'm ready. I think it's time to put a blueprint together. We have to. I believe that we owe it to the next generation, and so it has to start somewhere.
And I think, like Clarence says, I mean, humanity has been almost replaced. You don't need to call your grandma anymore and ask how to make sugar cookies because you can Google it.
Yeah.
You don't need to go down and even borrow sugar from Martha because you can Instacart it. But that can
Amazing.
never be replaced. Love, compassion, generosity, you cannot replace that with any app, any
Wow.
Google, anything.
That's so
Right.
true, Jill. And I know. Listen, hey, this is Neutral Voices, and I know we got to get out of here. But I want to leave you with this thought as we make plans to begin to rebuild the village. But it'll look different, obviously. But think about this: we're talking about it takes a village to raise the children.
Mhm.
Ponder this: it takes a village to raise an adult. Because we have a lot of adults acting as children
Yeah.
Right.
You said
and
mouthful
doing a
right
whole
there.
lot of other extra stuff that I don't have time to
Yeah.
get
It
into.
But that's
takes
a
a
whole nother
village
story.
to
So
raise
that's
a
how I'm
village.
gonna
Takes a village
leave
to raise a
that.
village.
Yes. So to raise an adult. So
Yeah.
ponder on that until we come back together again. Jill.
Will mankind ever achieve global brotherhood? Is such a noble goal an inevitable and natural progression of our societal evolution. As creation came about, I have to believe that there was a greater purpose. There must have been purpose and a hope that we would exist as one body in a peaceful way. I still have to believe that we were created with that purpose to love and nurture the human race. After all, we are at our best when we serve others unconditionally. While we can never hide ourselves from the outside marketers or the government or the systems put in place to break us apart, we do need to think critically about the social bonds that used to tie us together as Americans. I have faith that something else is growing to replace the old traditional bonds. Value life in whatever house it dwells. For when it comes time that we are all stripped to bare bones before the divine and facing eternity, we will understand that the only law we were meant to follow was to love ourselves, to love each other. Nothing more, nothing less.
Love.
Love.
Always.
That's where it all
Covers
starts.
Love, baby.
Everything. Love, honey.
What's the song?
Yes.
Love will keep us together when that
Yes.
comes into them.
And it was a whole lot
Take
of
us out
different
with it,
songs.
B.
We are family. So much we can talk about, especially when it comes to love. This is Neutral Voices. And what I want to remind you is to take your negatives and make them and use them as bricks
Right.
to rise up
I feel you.
so we can build our community and restore our village. That is what we're here to get it started. We're here to start it.
We
I mean,
are.
it has to jump off somewhere.
We are.
And that's what we're talking about. Neutral Voices. We're all about unifying our community,
Right.
no matter what that looks like.
Right.
One person at a time,
One person at a time.
one brick at a time. Love by love. Love yourself. This is Neutral Voices. Hopefully you will join us tomorrow because the
Voice of the
conversation
people.
continues.
We're gonna
Tomorrow
hear
is
from
our
you.
Voice of the People segment, and that's where you call in, leave comments, and we talk about it. It's all about you. So tomorrow, join us as we plan to rebuild our village. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time.
When I say 7, y'all say days. Hunting for the cheese like a mouse in a maze. Been down all my life, mama thought it was a phase. Same OG, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Last night I had a dream.
It takes a village to raise a child. This is an African proverb which means that an entire community of people must interact with the children of the community in order for those children to grow up in a safe and healthy environment. I pose the question, who is the village? The village is comprised of individuals like you and me who want to see the community prosper and the children develop into outstanding adults. Individuals like Marsha Smiley, who is a dedicated volunteer in the Allen County and Greater Fort Wayne area. She has been recognized for her tireless service in the community, serving underprivileged at-risk youth. People such as Chris and Ephraim Smiley Jr., whose urban farm feeds countless people in the community. In 2018, Mr. Smiley was presented with the Sagamore of the Wabash Award for his distinguished service to the state of Indiana and its residents. This is just one family in the greater Fort Wayne area. Imagine if that was replicated across the nation. If each individual in the community works cohesively with each other as a whole, we can provide opportunities and a standard of living that is unmatched in human history. Is it possible? Yes. It would take a huge amount of selflessness. I listened to stories from the older generation where they express how each neighbor would look out for the children of the community. And I asked, how did that change? According to an article written by psychologist Dan Edmonds, one of the most destructive problems in a community is the breakdown of the people, the superficial nature of relationships, and the societal and financial pressures that force one to focus on self-survival. In order for us to create that village that we so desperately want and so desperately need, it's gonna take each individual in that community to care about the plight of the other people in that community. Relationships are more valuable than gold.